So I haven't been playing anything, but I'm stretching because I need to figure out a way to talk about the Last of Us show that doesn't make me seem like a fanboy, but is also serving of the show.
What if I start with I agree with everything you're saying, and it was one of the greatest TV shows I've ever seen. It was one of the greatest first episodes of anything I've ever seen in my entire life. The first 30 minutes.
That is a clip.
And you can clip this. The first 30 minutes of The Last of Us was the best TV that I've ever seen. Pre-time skip was absolutely ridiculous how good that show was.
And I want to touch on that because the time skip thing I think that you have the issue with is interesting, but I'll agree that that first opening scene, so like this is what people were about, or is it going to be faithful, is it going to be too faithful, is it going to be not faithful enough? And what they did was expand and add to the source material in the most brilliant ways possible. And I don't want to touch on it too much because I know it's a new show, and I need people to just go and watch it, especially if you haven't played the game or if you have only heard of The Last of Us, right? Like, what I'll say is this is the perfect show to watch with people who you wanted to play the game with but didn't. So, like, I watched the show with Nicole, and it is... She can't sit through a video game. She gets motion sick real easy. Like, she just doesn't care about video games. That's fine. But, like, we watched the show, and she had a very similar response to where she was like, that was fucking awesome. That was so good. And, like, I just got to talk about it. The shot, and you know the shot I'm talking about, the out-of-focus shot with the neighbor in the background. Yeah. Was just so good. So good. I'm excited. So we're releasing this on Monday. We're recording this on Sunday. So we're releasing this tomorrow. Tonight, the episode that is premiering is directed by Neil Druckmann, who this is his baby, right? Like, he created the game, directed the game, like, so I'm so curious because and they're blocking it exactly how I said they would. Exactly how I said they would.
Yeah, they're going to get... Do you think these episodes are going to stay an hour and a half?
I think they should. I think
if they can maintain this level of interesting, then yes. My issue is that post-time skip, it did get a little boring. It was a little slow.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on the girl who plays Ellie yet, but I think Pedro Pascal is, like, I was a little Agreed. Like, him, really? Okay, I guess, like, whatever. But no, nailed it. Spot on. Perfect.
Agreed. I wish Sarah didn't like it that much. She's not big into the post-apocalyptic scene. She really enjoyed the pre-time skip. After that, it kind of lost on her. She hated The Walking Dead too. But this was very good television.
It's so good.
And
like, even the scene, like, just it, like, again, adding to it, like, okay, the whole thing happens pre-time skip, like that big event happens, and then the very next scene they're like, oh, if you thought it wasn't dire enough, here's this other kid, that whole other kid thing. And then like it didn't click with me what was happening until Pedro Pascal is, like, you know, picking him up out of the truck.
Yep.
I was like, oh no, that happened. That's what that was.
Yep.
So good. I hope they can keep it up. Let's see. Balls in your court.
Yeah, and we're gonna just pull an article from wrong article. We are gonna pull an article just to see how well it did from Forbes.com, brought to us by Paul Tassi. The Last of Us critic and audience scores are nothing short of miraculous. And this article just goes in and says literally everything Bobby just said, and that it got a 99% score from critics on Rotten Tomatoes. And the audience score is very, very close. I don't have the exact numbers, but it's not something where critics absolutely loved it, audience
Yeah, it's not
absolutely hated it.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, this was very good TV. Everyone unanimously agrees about it, and I'm concerned that this is going to be the premier post-apocalyptic show.
It should be, because it's the best post-apocalyptic story.
And while The Walking Dead fell off so hard after like season 4, I think this is going to be a very tight series that has a clear conclusion and end, and I think it's going to be the best way to enjoy this type of content. And
oh my god! And the ending, I hope that they do the ending how they did, like. And again, even after the time skip, I just gotta talk about it quick. Like, there's so many little things that they've added where, like, in the game there is no that radio guy, but of course there would be that radio guy in that world, right? Like, that was such like a duh.
Yep.
So cool.
I also think it did a very good job of making some of the scenes feel like a video game. And
the scene where they're in the car,
yep,
and everything, that is ripped directly from the game.
Yeah. And I could feel the scene. I haven't played the game. Again, I didn't have a PS4, didn't have a PS5, did not get a chance to play them, and never went back to play them. I'm completely detached from the story. And just watching the game or watching the show, I'm like, this is definitely in the video game. You saw this isn't a huge spoiler. You saw the house on fire as they were driving past the road, and I'm just like, just the way the camera tilts,
panned,
drives past it, and her reflection in the
glass,
windshield, and everything. It's just.
But here's the other thing. And and then we'll move on, because I know we got a pretty tight show here, and I definitely want to talk about the numbers it did for HBO.
Yep.
The planes, not in the game. But again, such a cool idea. Such a cool idea.
It was so good. It was absolutely fantastic.
I think this has the potential to be. How do I put this? I think. So obviously this is one of HBO's biggest premiere shows since House of the Dragon, since they started doing, like, the episode is released online at the same time it goes live on cable TV, right?
Yep.
I think you're going to see these numbers grow week to week exponentially, because now it's out there. Now it's the word of mouth thing. Now it's like, hey, mom and dad, watch this. You'll like it. You know what I mean?
And I think this is also a video game TV show that you can get other people to watch.
Yep.
Like, this doesn't need to stay in a video game audience. Like the World of Warcraft movie.
Don't even sully the conversation.
The World of Warcraft movie, you needed to be a fan of World of Warcraft to sit
dark
through that
portal.
movie. It was not good. They had a dark portal in that one.
Yeah,
you do not need to play video games. You don't need to enjoy video games. You don't need to know what a Twitch streamer is. You don't even need to look at a controller and know what the buttons do. Excuse me. This is a very accessible point of video game media for the entire world. And what I think is a huge win is that it's a Sony exclusive. Do you know how many people are going to want to pick up and play this game after watching this TV show? And the only way to do
whole bunch
is to buy a PS4, a PS5, and I guess you could get it on a computer. The general public, I'm going to argue, does not have a computer good enough to run Last of Us on it.
To run it the way it deserves to be run?
Just a way that it would be... like, nobody's first guess would be, I could just play this on PC, because everyone knows that your general mom and pop laptop that you have in home that someone sent an email from once a week is not going to run.
It doesn't have an RTX 2090.
Yeah. My laptop might. But that's all I have.
Yeah, listen. Your laptop isn't even transmitting clear video right now on Riverside. Your laptop
isn't transmitting clear video. Nah, this thing is its heyday was 2018, and it is no longer 2018, my bud. But what
no,
we're
it's
gonna
not.
do, I'm gonna,
yeah, great numbers for HBO. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I'm just gonna skip topic 2 just because I don't think there's anything super here. So let's just go into the main piece of the episode. But you continue on Last of Us.
No, great numbers for HBO. I am hopeful. I am cautiously hopeful at this point. I went from cautiously optimistic to cautiously hopeful. So we're on the uptrend.
100% agree. And in general, I think this is good for video game television because it'll give people the need.
Are you going to commit to still tuning in?
Yeah, I'll watch. I will watch it until I'm worried that the post-apocalyptic thing is going to eventually get to me, and I'm just not going to want to watch it. But if
let's see, because if they introduce the clickers this week, that'll be great.
Yeah,
that'll be great.